back to what we were discussing before in terms of segregation versus integration. The idea of trying to be segregated here in Canada is like you can't. You know, you'll starve to death, right? Literally and figuratively, right? So it's kind of like we've come used to spreading our dollar to a broader audience or a broader market, whereas in the States or in the West Indies or in various African countries, spreading your dollar with your community is so much easier because your physical community reflects your cultural community. So you definitely see the difference in terms of the structure, the physical structure of our communities.
So I remember I had this conversation with this lady I met. She was from Chicago, and she was like, "You Canadians, especially you Black Canadians, love to eat up the whole multiculturalism, inclusive, and you love to eat it up." But she's like, "You don't realize that comes at a detriment that what do Black people really own in this country?" Like she's like asking me, "Is there a prominent, successful Black neighborhood in the GTA that exists?" And I struggled to find one.
Not yet.
And so not yet, at least. And granted, we've at least from a Caribbean perspective, we've only been here since the 1960s, early 70s, if you will. But do you feel like the inclusivity kind of march theme is at a detriment in terms of us building our own? Do you think that impedes our growth a little bit?
I think it does to a great extent. I guess if you look and see where we're more inclusive, although we're not a large population, you'll see that we definitely do things on a cultural basis more than we realize. The concerts we go to, the foods we eat, the barbershops, the churches we go to, the mosques we go to as well too. We're still doing things on a cultural level as well too, right?
The commerce.
The commerce is actually because we're less than 5% of the population in Canada, right? We have to, by nature, make sure that we are integrating with other communities. But if I look at on a global stream as well too, if you look at Africa, I did a study to see exactly what is the GDP of Africa as a continent compared to the rest of the countries. And when I was quite surprised, it would rank as the entire continent of Africa, which is about 1.3 billion people, right? It would rank the 11th largest economy by GDP in the world.
Wow.
Just ahead of Russia on its own. And behind Canada. So Canada on its own, just to put it in context and for Canadians, Canada's economy is larger than the entire African global continent, when you're thinking of it, of 37.5 million Canadians compared to 1.3 billion Africans. But again, when you look at GDP, it's the ability for a country to produce goods domestically that they can also export as well too.
Right.
So Africa, of course, it's blessed with resources. It is the wealthiest continent in the world.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that continent sends most of the goods out of the country in raw materials. Well too. Canada does a great job in sending things out of the country in finished goods, or at least near finished goods as well too.
Right, for sure.